Welcome back to the channel. Still working on this Davis engine. It's turned into a little bigger project than I kind of wanted right now, means I'm working on the 8-horse mogul, but I'm going to keep going on this to get the piston out of it. I've got the crankshaft out to get it straightened, but now I'm trying to get the piston out. I tried pushing it, and I did get it to move basically full travel, and then it stopped. So I think there's a ridge at the bottom of the cylinder, and I'm going to have to try to push it back out the top. But I've got to make a part to do that with, so I'll bring you in a little closer and show you what I mean. Here's a view down in the base of the Davis. I've got it turned upside down. You can see the connecting rod and the piston down there. And I'm going to make a piece that fits around that connecting rod. It'll be kind of a C-shaped piece that will set down inside the piston a little bit and just push on that outer skirt. I don't want to hit the connecting rod because I might break the piston wrist pin lands out. So I'm going to make this piece and see how it works, see if I can get it pushed back or not. I'm going to start by cutting off a piece of metal. This is the slug that I had in the top side of the piston that I was hitting against. It's got a little recess on the bottom, so I'm just going to take a good chunk off the top, and that'll be the right diameter to fit down in that bore on the back side of the piston, and then I can turn a relief on that and cut a slot in it, and then see if I can get that piston to move back. But first I've got to cut this piece off. Got a 1/2-inch hole through the part now. I'm going to go back with the biggest drill bit that I have, and it's kind of cool to watch, so I'll just turn the sound on and you can watch the drilling process. Coming in with the boring bar now. I'm going to open this ID up just so it has good clearance with the rod going in there. We're going to make a slot on the side of it here too. But just a lot of time with the boring bar now. Finished with the lathe work. You can see that step there that'll fit down inside the piston, and then that top step will push on the skirt. Here's the other side. Not a great finish on it, but doesn't really matter. I'm just going to hit it with a hammer anyway. Coming in with a 3-stone hone here. Going to do some light cleaning on this cylinder. It's got a little bit of surface rust and just junk on it, so I'm going to try to clean it off with this old hone that I have. Just using brake clean for cleaning the stones, and that way the piston will slide up and down there real easy coming out. Here's a top view of honing. It's pretty straightforward. Just move it. Whoops! You got to aim right here with the can, but just keep the hone moving so you don't make a groove in the cylinder, and just clean it up just a little bit. And now we'll switch gears and clean that brake clean out of there, and then I'm going to put some oil in it. just to oil up the sides, just trying to make it so that it's as smooth as possible. So not a hard thing to do. Just some good prep work will make that piston move a lot easier. Okay, cylinder's oiled up. There's the part. I've got the piston viewed there. You can see how that slot just fits around there. I cut that with my Milwaukee bandsaw, but the cylinder's all oiled up, and we're ready to start seeing if we can get this piston to move. Started out with a 2-pound hammer and just a 1-inch piece of bar, trying to hit that piston. It's really not wanting to move. I can't really hit it that hard, just holding the rod with one hand and only using the hammer one-handed there, but I'm just going to try it here. I tend to work that way. I tend to go from easy to more extreme and harder on my methods. That way I don't just walk in and just break something. So I think I'm going to try a different plan here in a little bit, because it's just not wanting to move. The plate in the back of the piston's working good. It gives me a good surface to hit against. It's just I can't hit it hard enough. So I'm going to come up with another plan here. Well, here's what I come up with. Whole problem was making that bar stable enough that I could use a bigger hammer on it and hit it quite a bit harder. So I just took a piece of 2x4, put a hole through it that was exactly the size of that bar, and then I took some clamps on either side, clamped it, and put it in position where I want to hit it on that plate that I just made and put in there. So we'll get to see if this idea works. Got my sledgehammer out, see if I can put a little more force on this, and it is moving. It started out kind of slow and then it picked up speed, but it is moving. So process is working. I'll bring you in a little closer here. You can watch the progress. Not hitting it real hard. Don't have to. It's getting up on the oil that's in the cylinder and the clean part of the cylinder now, so it's moving pretty easy. So just going to drive it down as far as I can with this bar, and then try to do something else. Just being careful not to miss it and hit the base and break the base or anything like that. That's always a risk when you start swinging hammers around this stuff, but there it's moving real easy. Pretty happy with that. So now I've got to come up with another plan. I need to take this part and probably just lay it down, get a bigger bar, and it's got a longer reach, and then it should just tap out of there pretty easy now, because it's really up on the oil and the clean part of the cylinder, and I imagine the rings are stuck, so it should start sliding pretty easy. So I'll just get the stuff out of the way here, lay this down. This base probably weighs a couple 100 pounds, so you got to be a little careful it can get away from you, and I certainly don't want to break it hitting it on the concrete and stuff. So have to get another bar and then see if I can get that piston out now. So I'm going to start out with a board here. I think I can just push it with this piece of 2x4 that's ripped down a little bit, but that just didn't go well at all. It actually wedged in there, and I spent about an hour getting that pulled back out. I just couldn't get a hold of it good enough, and finally got it out of there. But so it's wedged in there now. I was wondering why the piston wasn't moving anymore, but it was because it was getting wedged with that board. So it's in there pretty tight. So I'm going to be working on that for quite a bit off camera here. But I'll do that and then come back and have a new plan. Got a longer metal bar, and I'm just using a 2-pound hammer because it's moving real easy now. No need to hit it with the big hammer. So it is coming out. You can see it coming out of the top of the cylinder. So rings are actually out now, so it should just push right on out. It's what it seems to be doing. There, it's almost out. It's a pretty good feeling when you get to this point and all the work. It took a lot of calendar time to get this piston out, but it just takes time to do this stuff, and nobody's impressed if you get it taken apart fast and you break a whole bunch of parts and stuff, because I made one piston for that mogul and I really don't want to make another one anytime soon. It's a lot of work to do that. So there's the pistons coming out. The rod cap end is just slightly smaller than the bore, so it will go through there. There it is. I'm pulling it out. The plate I made worked real well. It's kind of a odd thing, but it sure did work nice. So there it is. Piston is out now, and we'll get to taking the rod out here in just a second. There's two jack bolts that hold the wrist pin in place so it can't slide around and hit the cylinder. There's flats on the wrist pin, and they just tighten down against that. Square head jack bolts, 3/8, 16 I believe is what the thread and size are. But anyway, take those out and then see if I can tap that wrist pin out. It's in there pretty good. I'm going to spray it with some PV Blaster here and start working it back and forth with a brass punch. It's kind of an obnoxious thing to hold. I can't really put it in the vise because I don't want to clamp anything, possibly break it or distort it or mark it up. So I'm just going to try to use this block of wood and hit against it. It's not ideal, but it also keeps me from really hitting it very hard, so I don't end up breaking something if that doesn't want to come out. So switch views here a little bit, let that PV Blaster soak a little bit, and hopefully it'll start coming out. Once it starts moving, it should just come right on out. It's really not in that bad a shape. It just hasn't been out for 124 years. So there it's coming out, moved out. Wrist pin actually looks pretty good. It's still a pretty nice fit on that rod. I don't know, I may have to make a new bushing for it after I get it cleaned up, but it seems like it fits pretty nice. I just don't think this engine has a lot of wear on it. I think it had a couple of problems early on, and then it just wasn't used very much. But there's the wrist pin out. I'm going to drive that back in so I can use that as a handle, because I'm going to end up putting it in some WD-40 and soak it. So here we are. I got a bucket, and WD-40 is pretty good for soaking things in. It's basically kerosene, and so I'm just going to pour some in this bucket, and I can put the lid on it so it doesn't stink the shop up. And diesel fuel works pretty good too, but WD-40 smells a lot better in my opinion. So I just keep reusing the WD-40. I buy it in the gallon jug, and then kind of filter it through a coffee filter when I'm done, put it back in the jug. So I'll set the piston in there and put the lid on it, let it soak for a few days, and then I can get the rings loose, and that'll be in another video. For now, we're about done. We got the piston out, and I'm going to go get the crankshaft worked on and then get back on the mogul. So we'll let this soak. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here, or if you just want to see what I'm going to be doing next. I really like the comments and the likes and everything, so keep those coming, and I'll see you in the next video.